Sorcerers! Josh here. And we got an announcement today. An announcement that I have been looking forward to. And unfortunately, I have mixed feelings about it. Especially at first, when I first read it. So for those of you that haven't seen it yet, we got more information about the prizes for the Crossroads events. So the big regional events, Gen Con, the event down in Australia at Plenty of Games. Presumably there's going to be one in Europe. There may be more of these at some point. So wherever these events are at, however many they end up having, my guess is there's going to be 4, but maybe there's going to be 6. I don't know. And so the first part of the announcement, I was surprised by. The towers that everyone gets for entering a Crossroads event are regional. So they are region locked. So if you go to Gen Con, you're going to be getting a particular tower. In this case, it's going to be Lone Tower. Now, I like Lone Tower because it is a ziggurat. And if you have seen my little frog emblem, there is a ziggurat in the back. So I'm kind of happy to get Lone Tower. But I am surprised because I really thought they were going to make these things kind of random. And people would get them randomly. So the region lock, it's interesting. I'm assuming Gothic. I think Gothic is going to be in Europe. And then Dark Tower is going to be over in Australia, Asia, wherever, that whole side there. So but I'm assuming there's only going to be the one event that's a Crossroads over there, unless maybe there's going to be one in Japan. That would be the only other place I could think they may have a Crossroads event where you could get a Dark Tower. So getting that Dark Tower may become very problematic. And the same can be said for Europe. There may only be one European event. So getting the Gothic Tower is going to become very problematic. Now, they've already indicated they're looking at an additional Crossroads event somewhere here in the U.S. So that Lone Tower will probably be the easiest to come by. But it's still going to be extremely limited. And I'm kind of surprised, just given how many of these events there probably will be. I'm surprised that we're going to have such an unequal distribution of the towers. Now, maybe they'll use this promo for more than this first year. And I'm presuming that the year ends with the Avatar of the Realm tournament. So, maybe they'll continue to offer the towers at other Crossroads events. I don't know. But it seems to me, just knowing that how many Crossroads events there are going to be, the Lone Tower would probably end up being much more common. Whereas acquiring a Dark Tower or a Gothic Tower will be more difficult. That's just my thoughts on it. I could be completely wrong. We don't know how long they're going to offer these. Maybe they'll offer them more as part of the Avatar of the Realm event. I don't know. So that was kind of a surprise to me that it's going to be probably very difficult to actually put together all 3 unless you're willing to spend some serious money or place top 8 in a Crossroads event. If you place top 8, you do get the full set. So if you're a great player, you have the opportunity to get a full set. And if you do place top 8 and you win, place top 8, I'm going to tell you, being able to just have that full set, that's going to be real hard to reassemble. So if you like those cards, I wouldn't get rid of them. But if you don't, they're probably going to go for a pretty penny. So, you're going to have to really think about that. But I do worry about the disparity of, there's going to be more, I'm just going to assume there's going to be more Lone Towers out in the wild because there will probably be more Crossroads events and more people participating in the Crossroads events in the Americas. I think that that's a reasonable assumption, given what we know about Sorcery's player base. So that's a very interesting thing. And that was why I also had, and that set of mixed feelings about this announcement, that came later, when I actually read the article, my initial mixed feelings came about the second part. The second part that really made me, I don't know. So they showed the cool new avatars that they've been kind of hiding, getting ready to tease out. And they finally gave them to us. Rainbow foiling, okay, whatever. Great, a different type of foiling, please, for the love of all that's holy. Don't put them in boxes. If you want to do different foiling for these cool promos, all right, you get right on it. But I don't want 15 foiling types in my boxes. If there are 15 types of foiling in my boxes, I'm out. I am out. I'm not doing that dance. I don't like it. It feels weird. It's too hard to keep track of what you got. No, do not want it. So, rainbow foils. And what was interesting was how they said you're going to get it. They didn't just pick one avatar or, it's going to be this gothic alternate art avatar. You're going to receive, the top 4 in any Crossroads are going to receive a rainbow foil of the avatar they won with. And that's what threw me. Because we all know what that means. That means every avatar has to be printed, including the alpha avatars. Now, some collectors have already jumped on this. Now, I would encourage you to do what I did. I read it, and I'm like, I need to let this one digest. I need to think about this, and really, the alpha avatars are going to be reprinted. One thing that you definitely need to note, if you're already thinking about grabbing your torches and your pitchfork, the rainbow avatar does not appear to have a text box. So this card you're going to get has a full art of the avatar with a cool type line at the bottom that is unique to each avatar, which that is actually super cool. I think that's awesome that every avatar is going to have its own unique type line. So that, I think, is going to be really interesting because, there's going to be all the varieties out there of what those type lines may say. I don't know, it just feels really good that they took the time to make a type line like that. So the rainbow foil isn't going to have its text box. So now you've got the question of, okay, well, is that different enough? Yes, we're using the same art from the alpha avatars. Because it doesn't have the text box, is that different enough? In my opinion, no. If someone comes to one of my events and they've got one of those avatars, I'm going to say, good job making top 4 in a Crossroads event, because that's going to take some work. And I'm going to let them play with it. I mean, clearly they know the avatar. They won a Crossroads event with it, and I'm sure we can scrounge up a copy of the text if we need to. So it is going to be playable. So there are more alpha avatars in circulation, in theory. But again, let it digest. Think about it. What have many of us that have been in the organized play, we have been complaining about Archie. Archie is a problem. The Explorer series, many of those events have banned him, and we've been making those complaints. So, there aren't any bans at the Crossroads event. What are the odds of a rainbow foil alpha avatar actually going into circulation? And even if they do, how many would it be? Let's say there are 6 Crossroads events. So 24 of these avatars are going to go into circulation. All right, let's say it's Avatar of Air, which is the one that can win, that had a time where it was a serious contender and still a good contender. It's not like, I'm not saying it's not a contender, but it's not a top tier contender. So let's say Avatar of Air, everyone plays it for some reason and it's 24 more of those. Is that big of a deal? that's what I had to think about personally. And honestly, when I really think about it, I think it'll be astounding if more than 2 or 3 of the alpha avatars make it out into circulation in this rainbow foil card type. So it's 3 cards, right? Now, some of you will say, well, especially the collector folks, right? I think a lot of the collector folks felt like the alpha avatars were kind of the last vestige of collectability that hadn't been reprinted. And I think a lot of people had a lot of feelings about that. So to see that they've been reprinted, even in this unique form, without a text box. And also, note, we haven't seen the back of these cards. We don't know what the back's even going to look like. So that could play into things. Because if the backside has the card text, okay, then I don't know. But it's not like there's going to be a lot. But I see that, a collector might say, well, yeah, but let's say that they know they're going to run 6 Crossroads and they have to assume that any avatar can win it. Maybe they don't make that assumption, but let's assume, to print it, right? You're going to want to print this all on one sheet somehow or something, I would think, just in order to save on costs. So, if the sheet is 4 copies of every avatar, or a couple of sheets that are 4 copies of every avatar, because 4 are given out at each event. So I would think groupings of 4 make sense. Unless maybe, I can't think who knows? I don't know. But even if they have to print every avatar just in case one of them wins. So with that being the case, that means that there are those avatars out there. So what happens to those? What happens to the rainbow avatars that don't make it out? Or is this something that's ongoing? They printed X amount of the rainbow avatars. They know that every single year for at least a little bit, maybe the next 5 years, top 4 get a rainbow avatar of the avatar they won with. So they printed X amount. Then there's going to be more in circulation. And then I think the collectors might be a little bit more upset. Now, again, I think the number of these that are going to get into circulation, especially those alpha avatars that, like Avatar of Fire isn't going to make it unless Gothic does something incredible, or if they allow them to keep being given out at events over the course of several years, something really amps up Avatar of Fire. But we all know Avatar of Fire has issues, and it's very tough to really consider the idea that Avatar of Fire is going to take a Crossroads event. See, it sounds far-fetched. It certainly is far-fetched in the current meta, I think. Now, shock me. I like being shocked. Do it. It'd be fun. But in reality, what we're probably going to see, at least for the Gen Con event, I fully expect the top 4 to be composed of Archies, Druids, Sorcerer, maybe an Avatar of Air. Maybe Death Speaker surprises us, makes a comeback. But when I think about the avatars that are currently being played, that are currently winning major events, Sorcerer, Druid, Archie, those are definitely the top 3. Avatar of Air occasionally comes in. There's an interesting Land Destruction Pathfinder deck. It's pretty neat. But really, those are the ones you're going to think about. And given the pricing for these types of events, I think that those cards are going to show up. Who doesn't want to get one of these rainbow foil avatars? I think everyone would want to. So I've got to think the ones that come into circulation are the avatars that are dominant in organized play, which means the alpha avatars aren't going to be affected as much. So, is that okay? So that's why I took some time to really think about it. At most, maybe a couple of these that are the alpha avatars make it into circulation. That's not that big of a deal. And honestly, even if the max of 24 made it into circulation, is that big of a deal? They are different. They are going to be worth, assuming that there's not some weird thing about how they can't be played, but I still think the collectors are going to go wild for these things. So getting a hold of one, and that's going to be the real question, will the people who win these top fours, are they going to be willing to let those go at all? That's a big question. Or is this their way of saying, hey, play the game. Play the game if you're a collector and get real good. maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe that's the goal, to get those people involved in play too. Granted, I think a lot of collectors also play, but there is a subsegment of collectors that they just collect. They're not involved in the play scene, and that's perfectly fine. So I don't think that this is some major red line. But I think that some people may be upset, especially if they don't take the time to thoroughly read everything, to look at the examples that were shown, how they're so different, and think about the quantity of these that could possibly get into circulation. Now, if they do this for 20 years, we can get this thing, okay, then maybe we run into issues. I don't know. But even then, unless there's, now if there's, 50 Crossroads a year, okay, now we're talking about issues potentially. But for right now, it is what it is. I'm still not sure that it's cool, like they're cool, but I don't know. I don't know. They're cool and they're neat, but I just was kind of expecting, I guess I was expecting maybe something different in terms of the avatar. Maybe like I said, like an alternate art Gothic avatar. That's kind of, because that's kind of been the theme with the organized play stuff, right? Swap, the Judge promo, Day of Judgment. Is it? Yeah, Day of Judgment. I think that's the name of it. Those cards were Gothic previews. So I kind of thought that theme might carry through. Of course, the Towers aren't. So there is that. Although they had the special thing of introducing a new artist for Sorcery. So it's just, yeah. For me, it's a mixed. They're cool. I think they're going to be neat. I think that the players that win them are going to be thrilled with them. I think they're going to be very tempted to let them go for reasons that we all know why. But there it is. That's what I think right now. And I'm still digesting it all. I'll admit it. I've just been thinking about it a lot. And I guess it's one of those things where I was expecting to be like super excited for whatever this was. And as cool as those little individual type lines are, and as stunning as the rainbow foiling is, again, I'm not a foil guy. So for me, a new type of foiling, that's not that exciting to begin with. So maybe if you're a big foil person, you love foils, maybe a new foil type, like that's your cup of tea. And so you're going to be jumping up and down for joy. And I do like the uniqueness of how they're giving to you what you won with, which makes it even more special. So there's definitely a sentimental value side of it. But I'm not jumping out of my seat like I was when they first announced organized play. There it is. That's it for today. A lot of thoughts. Sorry, kind of long. Yeah, just kind of mixed. Excited, but also, man, how am I going to get a set of Towers now? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. This is good for collectors. Yay! As always, keep on contesting the realm.